we all have a beef to settle once this starts, which is the emoji beef.
Yeah.
What's the emoji beef?
The emoji beef is that I think it's me, Robert, and Cameron all have the cowboy emoji, but
Oh,
it's been
I
a
do
long
not.
going beef. Oh, you took yours off?
We are live on LinkedIn.
it's a cold open, man. This is like Saturday Night Live. Let's keep it going.
Let's go.
What was the beef about the cowboy emojis?
So Robert, I think I copyrighted the traveling salesman, and so I've always had the content cowboy. But then Robert came in with the cowboy hat, and what I thought was going to be a rivalry ended up being a friendship. So it's just crazy what can happen on LinkedIn.
Sounds like a movie.
Sounds
Yeah,
like we all need to start wearing our
Yes.
cowboy caps.
it's a
Yours was
meet
not optimized for. Oh, there it is.
There it
Okay.
is. Hey.
it's a meet cute. That's what they're called in movies. So
Yeah, I'm not sure. Is the front brim supposed to go down like that?
I don't. Yeah, that looks more like a fedora than a cowboy.
Well, it's a Stetson,
Oh, okay.
but it does have it has the little flower on it, so it more.
I would say up, a little bit up. A little side is a little bit like
Yeah, I
like
want to be like gangster.
yeah, that's a little like
I need to like.
1920s Dillinger. I like
Yeah, exactly. You boys like Mexico?
that. Where are you going next? Wherever I want.
Yeah.
Aaron, I've got to say it's interesting when you mentioned meeting for the first time, because we were in that collab video and I think I convinced myself that we actually did that live.
Yeah.
And so it's weird to think that was so well done, but it's so weird to think that we hadn't actually met or spoken in person previously. So yeah, this is a very cool opportunity for me, Mark. I'm glad that we get to do this together. The original content cowboy, I would love, Aaron, for you to just give an intro to the Sprocketeer community and tell everyone about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm always the worst at intros. I feel like I talk about myself a lot, but when I put on the spot, I'm like, what do I say? But I guess professionally, I've been in digital marketing for 13 years. I was always in like the national space, working with companies like Jiffy Lube, more on the B2C side, kind of client partnership, but I also managed digital campaigns. So I had a unique way to look at it. And then over the years, I realized like starting to see on LinkedIn this cool community of this B2B and demand generation and dark social. And so I went to my company at the time, who I won't mention. No, I'm just kidding. They have to pay me a fee every time I drop it. But I was working for a company at the time and I said, you guys, we need this role. This is the role. And it was director of demand generation. So I wrote out a role, sent it to my boss, pulled some third-party pay salary things, and I made my first video, which was like a Don Draper why I quit tobacco, but it was why I quit ABM. And I submitted it to metadata to get like a free shirt, which I never got, but that team's awesome. And I'm throwing low key disses everywhere in here. But yeah, so I really got into the B2B space. And then I started doing video and I realized that video was so like a creative outlet. I was already doing video before. I was doing like stuff for myself, right? And then I realized that, wow, what if I could do video that would make me money? And then all of a sudden you start getting these opportunities. You meet people like you guys, meet different people who are super helpful. You start to get better at video. You realize that you can be funny in yourself. And there's this little niche market that actually gets your humor. And maybe my wife doesn't get my humor on this stuff, but if you know the market and you can get that kind of grin from that one person, you're like, oh, I want to keep going. Yeah, I've just really delved into the space. Previously, I was with a metaverse company as director of demand generation, and now I'm the director of digital at Sprout Loud. We do brand to local media, but really the personal brand for me, and I will be using my personal brand in the future for my company really soon, so people will get annoyed with that. But for right now, it's just for myself. I just create content to have fun and try to elicit a response and make the feed a little bit more enjoyable. So it's been fun.
Yeah, I've the kind of the style, strategy, the kind of philosophy that you bring to this stuff. Is it copy paste from something that you were doing in the B2C world, or that you were seeing in the B2C world, or is it different?
It's different to me. Like I wasn't the videos for the SMBs, right? So I do a lot of customer marketing. I like how we all keep looking at our hats and we're like,
Yeah, I know.
do we keep it? Do we rock it? But we're sold at this point.
We're
But
committed.
yeah, we're committed. We're in
Yeah,
it.
it's the thing now. We have to wear. I can't ever take it off.
Nope. But it's different. SMBs are a little bit more educational, right? Like when I work with that B2C, it's a lot of education stuff. Like, what is X? How will this help you? And the enterprise, you get a little bit more complex with it. If you're just super generic and broad, you're not going to hit the message right. And I think it's funnier the more niche you can go. And what's weird is I've implemented HubSpot at 3 different companies, even though it's like the jack of all, because HubSpot just was such a great patchwork tool. Do you need Gong? No, HubSpot has Twilio. Do you need outreach? No, we can send sequences from our emails. Do you need, so I've utilized the same CRM standpoint of this patchwork, do more with less, but it's a lot different. It's a lot more complex to get an audience on B2B because we're marketing to each other. So we're marketing to our peers. And if your peers like, that's old. Like you're not teaching me anything new, or I've seen that video. I feel like most of my inspiration comes from like copying a TikTok trend or looking at Bo Burnham and watching that at length for too many months on end, and then trying to replicate that and put that into B2B. So it's more creative. You can go deeper and it's funner to me.
Yeah, I think that's a good transition into kind of this first topic, which is the idea of education through entertainment. And I think I also challenge with this. I do marketing as well, but as wear many hats in the process, including administering systems and back end stuff. But part of it is really trying to find that middle ground between entertainment, education, not being too corny, not leaning too much into dad jokes, not crossing the line into getting canceled in some way. It's a fine line. So yeah, what do you bring? What's your like operating modus operandi to decide how to do that?
One, it just has to be like that spur of the moment thing. There's an idea and I'm influenced by everything. Like we're all on LinkedIn so much. It's crucial. Like I learned there's like a Mount Rush for me of like guys that aren't even much older than myself, but that have been doing it really great. And I won't shout them out because they get so many shout outs all the time. But there's a lot of people who are doing things in a format. So seeing that format first, but then I love a reverent, dry humor. Like I love the fact of doing a video that's so overtly you get it, but then at the end of the video explaining why it was funny. I want to tap into that portion because I feel like, to your point, just being totally honest, sometimes stuff is cringy and it's not on purpose cringy. And I feel as if you're just following a trend. So you got to have your own voice. We talk about be unique, be authentic. I'm not authentic if I'm Cameron. I'm not authentic if I'm Robert Jones. Like I'm not authentic if I'm Todd Clouser. Like you got to be yourself. And once I removed that and quit giving it was like, wow, this was funny to me. And then my followers weren't gaining, but the people who were following me, it's like people I wanted to work with or wanted to work for. That was like my goal. So then that was my ICP from there. It was like, how do I get that person's attention? That's to me, but I bring in all different elements of, here's a TikTok trend, bring it into here. There's a guy called Scumbag Dad who does a great example. I don't know if you guys know him on TikTok, but he's great. He's a writer, like an actual writer, and has a show coming out. But I try to just envelop all that because there's no limitations on this, especially if it's for my personal brand. I can do whatever I want. If it makes me happy, or makes me laugh, then heck yeah.
Yeah. What's your philosophy? Like, I worry that sometimes I try to get too academic with it. Do I like run in a machine learning analysis of trends being talked about in some of the Slack communities and then target it that way? Or is it you just do it from your gut?
For me or Cameron?
That was for Cameron, but also for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So for me, I focus on creating content that makes me smile. If it's something that I want to produce, then even if it ends up being a video where I look at that and I know I'm like, ooh, man, this is a little cringy, but it makes me feel warm inside. And so in a way, I feel like content production can be self-serving because I'm not doing it with the intention of I want to produce leads, I want to generate revenue. A lot of it is I just want to make something that's entertaining. Now, everything that I'm producing has some element of relevance to HubSpot or revenue operations. Some of it is a little bit more educational and some of it is a little bit more generic or just thematic. And some of my favorite videos that I've produced are ones where I watched a commercial or a TikTok video or another LinkedIn video, and I said, I want to do something like that because it made me smile or it made me feel good. There was that Interstellar video was one of the first ones that I posted. It was a reaction to Interstellar, like Matthew McConaughey and such. And it got like a lot of impressions, a lot of engagement. But that idea originated from a totally irrelevant reel of someone else like interacting to McConaughey. And I was like, ooh, I think I could do something with this. It was like midnight and I like wrote up the script and was like, I'm going to film this tomorrow. And so a lot of the videos that I end up producing, it's 10:30 at night, or no joke, I'm like getting out of the shower and a random idea hits and I'm like, I want to film that. And I just do it in the moment when I'm feeling like doing it.
Same for me. Just to jump in, it's like I keep my phone near, like in the shower, and it'll be like Siri, and I just rattle it off. And sometimes I can't decipher it because she takes terrible notes sometimes, but like you at least you're like, I have to put this down or else I won't be able to go and act it. And then the toughest part is the action of it. I've learned frameworks from really good video editors I've worked with, and they'll show me the framework and I'm like, oh, that can help me get my idea actually better. But yeah, it's always this like thing that you just will be thinking about and you're like, that's good, that would be funny. And then it comes down to actually executing it. But yeah, it has to make you laugh first, because if it doesn't, you're like, it's boring to create and it's not going to get there. So
yeah. I'm curious to hear about from both of you when it comes to people that maybe don't know what to produce, or they want to do marketing through video production or content creation, but they feel like they're stuck. Yeah, I think we all as content creators get some level of writer's block or creator's block at some level. But when it comes to just getting started, what would you guys say to those people that just, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable, I don't know if I would look good on camera, shoot, look what I'm wearing. But
I definitely got one ready to go here, because I have a hard time with this. Like, I've tried having a script and recording myself, and it is very painful to watch myself. I have a hard time engaging with the camera. It's much easier for me to do what we're doing right now and just have conversations and then go and then cut up pieces of it. And that's what I've been doing, because I'm much better extemporaneously. The things I say flows better than trying to read it off a script. And so my suggestion would be have recorded conversations with interesting people and just pull out pieces of it of yourself, throw some captions on it like people do, make some shorts on YouTube or whatever, LinkedIn. That's what I've been doing lately. And the quality of myself doing that, as opposed to like trying to talk into the microphone, I can't get this element of being genuine when I'm not talking to someone. And so that's my hack.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, because yeah, I like the organic flow, just like how this started, right? Like, I like the organic flow. Let's do jazz. What's the idea? Where can I change? It should always be, you can't overthink it and put so much thought into it. If you're writing a script, like a collaboration, like the HubSpot one I sent over to Robert, that has to be pretty coordinated because there's 4 people involved. So you're like, you have to have it down because you want to make the editor's job a lot easier. But with like my stuff, no, if I'm editing it, it's like free game, whatever comes about. I have a rough idea and then I just go. And as I go, I'm like, oh, that could make this funnier. That could make this go. But I was if you watch my old videos, I did like a reaction to one of my old videos and put my face up top watching myself. And I was, when you were and you're just like, oh God. So the first ones are going to suck. But there's something the other day that was in this book from Rick Rubin, which I don't read, and I won't lie that I read. I watch YouTube clips and then I watch documentaries, but I do love Ken Burns. That's a book to me. And so I don't know. There's not really limits when you're just like, look at all this other content that people are putting out. Why can't I put out the same content? And it really is repetition, because it's like, if you don't put that idea out, someone else is going to find that idea and put it out. So I would be more pissed about getting someone else doing it than me doing it in a half-assed way or not all the way. Because look, people repost stuff from a year ago and it gets the same traction. No one's watching your feed that close. And if you think they are, there's an issue internally. No, I'm just kidding. But you'll feel like, oh, people are going to see this and just, whoa. And then 12 likes later. But the ones that you're really like, this one just came from the shower, and that's your best performing video because you're the most authentic you. So I feel like you get more comfortable, but it takes practice. You're not going to jump into this and be buttoned up and have it all down. It's just not going to happen.
So when it comes to producing content at any level, I don't know, Aaron, how closely you look at your metrics, but I've seen arguments both for and against getting obsessive over impressions. One argument being that looking at impressions, every impression is just an eyeball and they add up and they're real people and you should treat them seriously. Some people say, go for the engagement, impressions don't matter. And then I've heard the argument that it all matters. So where do you stand in terms of looking at those different metrics when it comes to the dark funnel, if you will?
Let's not lie. We all want a huge reach on impressions, right? But I've been seeing, I put a video up the other day of impressions are lacking, impressions are this. And it's like, we all run our ad campaigns and we say, yeah, we want to go with max impressions. Usually it was conversions. Now people want max impressions because it's all about demand gen, not a quick CTA, et cetera. So let's get as many eyeballs as we can and then optimize towards the audience that's interacting with it. But within mine, again, I have 3,200 followers and I get to do opportunities like this. I get to do opportunities across several different creators who I respect. A real big one for me too is, I'm just gonna be super transparent, is my salary. Since I've started doing video, it's wild how much more confident I've gotten because I test with my own video. I don't need permission on that. And I won't work for someone who has to give me a permissionable, hey, this is for your personal brand, go and use this. I get there's guidelines, but if I'm just talking about me or my experience, no. So I get to test things out. My engagements recently have been equaling my likes, which is the number one thing. If someone is commenting on it, that means that it's not a passive algorithm warm up. That is this person's, whoa, I really dig this. So to me, I think impressions are great, but I love that LinkedIn's changing the algorithm to actually get this to people who want to see it.
Yeah, but we covered a lot of the video content and education aspect of what we all are trying to do or are doing. I think that we all are HubSpot users and have for a while. And you had mentioned that was part of the things that you do. So as marketers, as people that are using content, rich media content, things like that, what are some ways that you've found to maximize the benefit of using HubSpot?
Gosh, there's so many ways. I feel like HubSpot was just like a core because it does what it's so smart. HubSpot, the way to do is they will pull in the best features from every app to allow them to be in the marketplace with an integration. Mm-hmm. So, wow, Chili Piper's awesome. But I can also insert proposed times within my emails through HubSpot for free. You know what I mean? Oh, wow. Like I said earlier, Gong's great, but I get Twilio recordings for free within my HubSpot subscription, right? I don't know. It's been a key piece because everything's held within there. I like one system, and obviously we have all APIs. There's Zapier, there's things you can do, but it's been essential for me just with not only in the SMB side, but also going into the enterprise side as well. Salesforce is like Excel, I always say, and HubSpot's like a CMS. And for someone like myself who I'm not a RevOps, I'm not in that role, I'm not operations, but I can get in there and figure pretty much anything out because there's a little purple button in the bottom. So if I have an idea, I can hit that customer chat and I can get it implemented. I did a super complex onboarding workflow that I stole from Arrows that they post all the time. I think it's Stuart is their main, he's like the Kyle Jepsen of HubSpot, and he puts out fire HubSpot workflows. And so I'll copy, iterate, use it, and I can implement it. It's easy enough for me to be able to do that. But it's a core factor in customer marketing, but it's also a core factor in utilizing tools like Vidyard. Obviously, I'm big on outbound engagement too. it's not just the videos. You guys don't usually see anything I post about my work because that's more to the SMB crowd. So I'll go through a workshop with my sales team on the SMB side and say, hey, this is my example video. I'll send it to them, make it your own. But I'll do my pitch. I'll do a 30-second video. I'll highlight one value prop, give a solution. And it's almost like the new form of emails and how you're just supposed to do that framework. I do the same thing with video and outreach. So having all those tools in one is, again, I couldn't be a bigger fan after implementing it for 3 times. And every company I go to, they go, holy cow, I had no idea. And it's, you have to, they don't get it the first conversation. By the time you're ready to purchase, they're on board. But then when they see it in action, it's holy cow. So no, it's essential. Just like if you're a marketer, you've got to know some level of optimizations, algorithms, changes on each platform. You better know your CRM and how to speed up deals and how to move deals along the pipeline and how to do things like that.
Yeah.
So here's a callback to Mark. I think it was our first SprocketPod chat when it was just you and I, and we were talking about all-bound marketing. And at the time, I think I said something to you. Could correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think I said something to the effect of, yeah, it's something that as a sales professional, everyone should really probably be doing already. It's like a new term for something that isn't necessarily a new thing. I don't expressly live in the world only of marketing. So I'm not necessarily an SME to I would say the degree, Aaron, that you are. I would love to get your take on all bound, new term, old stuff, new tactics. Is it a big deal? Just in general for like sales professionals and businesses, and when it comes to using all bound.
Just to be clear, I don't know if this is a setup. Neither Cameron nor I knew the definition of it when we looked.
I didn't know. I'm all bound. I'm like, I've heard there's something near bound, but all bound maybe this to me. But if you verse me, I can give a reply.
Didn't we end up looking it up on Wikipedia or something? Or we
we did. We're going to do it again because
folks at home, this is quality marketing, coming up with your own term and branding it, and then getting other people to try to talk about it and figure it out.
That's how dark social was created. You notice dark social took a backseat ever since Hockey Stack came out, and in certain companies, it was like the coined phrase for a minute, and then now we're actually able to track some of that because people are like, "This is where it's shifting. We have a need. Let's create a product around it."
Yeah, I think all these terms are just branded phrases about things we always talked about. We ever talked about word of mouth, right? Word of mouth was a thing you couldn't necessarily quantify, but it was people talking about you in places you can't check. Dark social sounds so nefarious.
It's a marketer's market term.
For sure. The guy who invented the term product-led growth, or I don't know if he invented it, but he certainly capitalized on it, made courses, wrote a book.
Let's see, all bound sales come by the pull of inbound and the push of outbound. Yeah, I would say inbound draws in promise with value driven content. I think yes. So basically like intent triggers for your marketing. So how can you, after putting like an inbound tactic, so say you put a video out, you put a post out, you have a series out that you're doing. So it's about bringing in those folks and then going back out to them with outbound, what that strategy is basically, right? What you're asking. Yeah. So I think that having a congruent experience between a revenue team to be able to drift off the same content is crucial. So if they're coming in off this piece of content and that's what drove that inbound lead or trigger, then having that outbound match what they saw and what brought them in. So like a reference to it, whether that's in the video. I'm a big one of referencing it, maybe even showing the video. Hey, notice that you were interacting with this video. Excuse me. I just wanted to go in on how we can actually help you with this solution, or hey, before you even get into a hard sell, what about this intrigued you? Was it a certain solution you were focusing on with when you read this or gave a comment on it? I just did Capsule Video is a new video editor, and I saw somebody put out a post on it and how cool it is. After I signed up for my free trial that I found through a video, which was a UGC video from a video editor, they sent me an email from the CEO with a trigger, obviously, that just says, hey, Aaron, personalization, notice you just signed up. I know we're in the beta, what made you choose to sign up for this? What was the need you're looking to solve? So it's like those two ties are crucial. If not, it's like when you meet somebody and they start calling you the wrong name, or they talk about you about something you're not interested in. You got versed by your wife and you're meeting another couple and you're like, so Greg, what are this? I actually don't work in that. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, all right, great to eat. So it's, yeah, I think that has to match.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of revenue teams. Like, I don't want to work in a silo. I want to work towards a singular goal.
Yeah. And I think that there's so much data out there that can be enriched, not just like contact data, right? Using Zoom info, but like intent data from outside sources. So when someone's looked up either your product or a similar product on something like G2, getting all of those signals in and then giving context to the sales rep that, or the SDR that's going to be doing the outreach. And that's stuff we do. And I've been looking under the hood there to see where I can help add additional enrichment from things going on in communities and stuff like that. Because I think it's all about context, right? It's all about being able to provide the sales motion with context around the actual target, or else they just feel like, hello, name. Like you have to go a level deeper. But doing that stuff's tough. None of us have unlimited budgets. So it's like, how do you, I think it brings us to that, our last point here as we wrap up, but we all are, not just us, but I think everybody's has to do more with less, where you have budgets are tighter. And what are ways that you think can squeeze more juice out of the tech stack you already have? Do you have any hacks, any things that you're able to do to fill the gap between having to get something, like you said, you could use the functionality in HubSpot rather than going Gone, things like that?
Yeah, it's not about the best tool. Like, tools aren't strategy. And I know that's trite and that's been said a million times before, but tools aren't strategy. It's the content that you're putting out there. And I think right now I'm such a big fan of content because you can have the opportunity to storytell. People are now primed for this type of content. So I think it's quality on outreach. I think we were huge into scale. Now it's pulled back to quality, even though there's this whole GPT and all that stuff going on. I think there's actually a counter movement of people who are really crushing it, is they're barely using AI, but they're still focusing on the quality. Yeah, I just try to find a solution. I'll just sit with it and be like, okay, we have this. What are we missing? If it's a manual upload and I don't have an API, I'm going to manually upload it. If it's, oh, they had a big thing I'm getting into is customer success right now with Pendo and the HubSpot integration. And what pages are they viewing? What prompts can we give them? What can we do to just keep it moving? Because in B2B, it's keep that moving, because there's going to be someone, I always relate it back to dating. Obviously, I'm married. I think we all have that in common. But
it's been a while since I thought about dating, luckily.
It's 9 years ago for me. But I will say that it's about moving that relationship along with that person. What can you add to value to them along that pipe and along that as they go down? If it goes dead, if I've had 2 conversations with you guys and I'm bringing up the same questions from the first go around, dude, this guy doesn't care. He doesn't listen. I want to talk to someone who's actually going to listen to what I got to say. So I feel like the patchwork is there. Zapier is a great tool for it. And if you don't, get someone who's good enough within RevOps to where they can upload the data that you need in the interim. Because I would rather move fast and get something in the market than say, oh, this is going to be a 3-month dev process, or we have to go through and find a new vendor to do this. And like you said, budgets are tight. So just get creative. Do something that people haven't seen before. I've never seen one of my videos not get opened on outreach. For example, like, I've never seen that. What I have seen, though, are really bad videos. You know what I mean? Like, I have seen that, but everybody's going to watch a video because they are going to cringe at it. They're going to really like it. They're going to love the personalization. Maybe they like the video, but they're not ready to buy, and they send it to someone else on the team and they go, oh, we actually have a use for this. I'll send things to my CRO all the time. Oh, check this out. Kyle from Clary posted a real easy way to use GPT, but not all the way. He just gets it for this. So yeah, they're just, it's solving a solution. It's like we're a mechanic and we go through all the diagnostics. Do we have the API here? Oh, no, we don't. Does our app connect to this? No, we don't. Do I have Operations Hub? Oh shit, I don't. Can I put a webhook in here? No, but what if we put up a workflow trigger? Oh, people can't see a receipt. Line items can't be, sorry, I'm going on a rant here, but line items can't be pulled into an email as a personalization token, right? You have to actually go into the custom script, and you guys probably know more about this than me, but you actually have to custom code a line item as a token. And so you have to go into a module and do that. We heard a bunch of complaints about people saying, I don't know what I'm being charged. And we sell media at the local level for SMBs through an app, and it's in congruence with their manufacturer. So it's like, how do we show them what they just bought? We'll use line items, put them into an email that says, this is what you purchased. These are the one-time fee. And then in green, we'll put ongoing monthly recurring budget. You know what I mean? So they're like clear, visible. That goes out the second someone submits that they said, yes, we've closed the deal. You immediately get that, because if you purchase a shirt, if you go do a transaction with your bank, you want to know immediately what's going on. So there's ways to patchwork it. Obviously, you got to have some talented people on your team or outsource, but yeah, I'm a big fan of just, we can figure this out. Let's just figure it out. Oh, 3 months for dev? No, not going to work. 1 week. Let's get it.
Final question.
Yeah.
With a hot take coming off of that, is AI going to replace creative marketers?
No, I do not think so. I've been testing a bunch of different AI. I don't think it is. I think it's going to enhance it, like Midjourney, right? Like a lot of the times if I'm doing a video, like I need like a video asset. So like I was doing the traveling salesman for Hockey Stack. I needed something to put on my green screen, and I would have to Google and Google. Well, you go to Midjourney, just create the image yourself. They are assistants to you.
Right.
We are all gonna, best practice is best practice for a short interim. The minute that we all start sounding the same, we're gonna change it, and some person's gonna go analog. Smartphones are freaking amazing, but you still have those people who are like, yeah, I'm with my Nokia. I just stick with it because I don't want this. There's always a cyclical counterculture to everything, but that's usually the person who stands out.
Yeah.
Go back to guerrilla marketing. Go back to these tactics where it's like, whoa, I haven't seen this in a while, but they did it in a new, fresh way. I don't think that has a possibility yet. I think Elon Musk just said on his crazy interview that you guys probably watched the other day with him throwing out expletives everywhere. And then he goes, hey, we're good friends, Jonathan. And he goes, and the name's Aaron. He goes, the name's Andrew. And he goes, oh, sorry. Anyway, I don't need advertisers. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna.
Yeah, I think anyone that's spent enough time with it, with something like ChatGPT knows that there is a what I can't articulate what it is, but there is a missing piece that it's not going to wake up one morning and be sentient. It's missing something. And I spend more time trying to like make it not sound like AI, like everyone else, than anything else. And that's still the challenge that I have. All right, fellas, we got to wrap this up because I have somewhere I need to be with my wife. So have a great weekend.
Tip my hat to both you gentlemen.
Yes.
Traveling salesman, Aaron.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys. See you next week.
Thanks.
See you next week. Bye, gents.